Hello, welcome back to the channel for another Sunday fun day over here. Brunch with Britt. I haven't picked the phrase really, as you can tell. We're putting stuff on my face. Today we're talking all kinds of things. It's basically a weekly roundup. Without further ado, we're gonna go from this face to this. Here we go. All right, I have primed the face. I have gua sha'd. It remains on the top of my skincare list. This little guy. Use it every day. I did want to tell you, update for the week, I have a new scorecard that is now fully published on the website. It's for the Gen C lip mask. Overall, I think this is a nice lip mask. I don't find it to be my favorite in terms of hydration and moisturizing. I tried this on last week. You could hear all of my comments if you want to go back to that. But I've been using it as a primer. For me, it's really not going to be a favorite though. That doesn't mean it's not going to be a favorite for you. There's a lot of 5-star reviews, but yeah, not so much over here. But the full review details and alternates that I would suggest are over back on the site. Well, that's fun. When I'm talking about prep on the face, that means that there's a little extra oil, hydration, stuff like that. So I don't need much. There is SPF. This is the Inika BB cream. Haven't used this in a long time. Sorry, the light was way too bright. I'm so excited to get into the new place because the studio is going to be in a more light controlled room. It's very exciting for people like me. It used to be one of my top picks. Currently not. I just I'm not loving it as much. By the way, also, this Kosas Sport, people love this deodorant. I just got the Necessaire because I ran out of my Kinko, which is my favorite. You can check that out on Britt's Picks Top 20, link in bio, or sorry, description. Had this laying around, so I went back to it. I have like pseudo reviewed it in past videos. Very meh, and now I'm like, no, I don't like it. Not a fan. Not a fan. But I just wanted to tell you that that's another update. And then I was gifted this Typology powder. My honest take on powders, this might be an unpopular opinion, I find very little difference in setting powders most of the time. The main difference for me is if there's silica in there, great. If it's cornstarch, not good for my skin. The mill of it does change things, but man, almost all of them that I've received, because I don't use a lot, and I don't have an issue with photos and seeing powder in photos, I just don't pack it onto my skin. That is where I can see people finding some differentiators, but truly, I've yet to find real differentiators outside of whether it's silica or cornstarch and whether it's finely milled or not. I have so many different setting powders, and I know I don't post a lot on here about them because I find very few differences in them. I could be fine with like just one for a long time. I'm not going to tell you that this is a life-changing setting powder. It is going to eliminate some sheen, especially if you have a oilier SPF. I find a setting powder to work nicely. It doesn't have to be this one. I'm not a fan of black plastic at all in general, or at least not having any refills available. We're bringing back the Fit Glow Corrector. So I also hopped on a call this past week. I had somebody named Holly Moore on my podcast. Her episode went live a couple weeks ago. Fascinating human and also really interesting. We ran very parallel paths. So she was in New Canaan, Connecticut. I was in New Canaan, Connecticut, lived there. She went to Boston University. I went to Boston University. It's just so wild. She is the founder of a company called Ingredientist, The Ingredientist, a beauty, branding, and product development agency. She's also brilliant and quite easy to talk to. If I sound rushed, it's because I can hear the leaf blowers. They're getting closer and it's gonna ruin the noise, so I might rush through this, sorry. One of the questions that came up during the conversation of the podcast recording on recording day was, are coconut oil derivatives in products meant to be avoided in the same way that a lot of people avoid coconut oil? It's one of the most popular questions I receive over here. Honest Beauty Flex Concealer, really liking what I'm seeing here. It's a really strong contender right now. Full scorecard coming. The short answer there that she gave me, having worked with a ton of cosmetic chemists and in product development scenarios over and over, no, it's really not the same thing as applying coconut oil to your face. And we talked about the comedogenic scale, so how pore clogging a product is, what that means, if that's still viable. It was fascinating because she said that that was developed in the 70s, and I'm gonna write a post about this on the site so you'll hear more about it. And it was using the inside of rabbit's ears. So we talked about the viability of something being called comedogenic or not, which just doesn't sound like the end all be all in criteria. And then she was talking about how it's really the type of coconut oil that you can use on your skin unless you have an actual skin allergy or true sensitivity. That's totally valid. You're not going to want to put that on your face if you're allergic to it, and you shouldn't. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. Talked about the benefits of fractionated coconut oil versus other types of coconut oil. And also when we talked about coconut oil derivatives, I never knew what to say in these reviews. I would call out ingredients, and as you've noticed in my scorecards, I've gotten more into transparency and speaking to that as opposed to actual ingredients. So I call out any potential red flags. And it occurred to me that while I was calling out coconut oil derivatives, like cocoa caprolate or something like that being in the formula, I didn't really know, is that the case or not? So I'm not going to call out coconut oil derivatives in future scorecards because it's a totally different type of molecule when it goes through that processing per her, again, not the expert. And so it's not affecting your skin the same way. So if you're out there avoiding coconut anything like the plague and you don't have an allergy or you don't have a very strong sensitivity, then I would encourage you to reevaluate anything like that in a product. Everybody's different, all skin types are different, so we are going to react differently. It doesn't mean you don't patch test and you're in the clear, but it opened my eyes. That was a boo-boo on my behalf. I didn't need to be talking about it that way. And you live and you learn. And I just loved having somebody else's perspective on there. I wanted to share it with you and not wait, because I feel like that's important information that everybody should really know if you're concerned about coconut oil in your products. I don't think I'm gonna do eyeliner. Also, I was gifted the Milk Kush mascara. I did not like it. It was very messy. It has 10,000 5-star reviews almost on Sephora. We all know some of those are incentivized. It just had me reaching for the Ami Collet again and again. I just like this stuff. It is thicker, but I really like the texture of it. And it certainly looks cleaner than the Milk mascara. That one was like crazy funky. The other thing that's going on over here, as you guys know, I am gearing up for the move. You really want to know it looking around the joint. I haven't really buckled down on boxing, but I've started to look at all of the products. Like, this is absurd. Sometimes you just need a fresh space to really get you I don't know, I do sometimes. I'm excited. I'm excited to get into the new space. I'm excited, even though it's really not that far from where I am now, to have some new vibes around. I find that really, you know what it does? It kicks up the momentum. I'm like a human cat sometimes. Like, my tendency is to be like a cat. I'm really good at napping. I have no real strong FOMO, or at least I used to not. Sometimes people get in my head about it, but at 20, I was like a 45-year-old. People have always said old soul to me. So because that's my natural set point, oftentimes I associate with people who are the opposite. I like having those types of people in my life here and there. They're the ones that are energized by going out. And so I love to be social, but I like to say I'm an extroverted introvert. And something about moving creates this good stress. Do you know what I mean? So it's getting me into this frame of mind where it's not complete overwhelm. I move all the time. I know what I'm doing. But I'm excited to have a new space. I'm excited to have a new studio space. I think I'm gonna lose this backdrop and just show a wall, because I'm like trying to just humanize it more. This feels very beauty creator. With the new space, there's also a really nice kitchen space, and I'm very excited about that because, as you've heard me say before on this channel, looking good, whatever good is to you, however you feel you look your best and enhance your natural beauty, that's important. I love that. I find applying makeup therapeutic. I love talking to you guys on this channel. Feeling good is way more important, in my opinion. Way more important. So with this new space, I'm like, oh, I love talking about food. I love recipes. I love holistic approaches. I love all of that. And I think I'm going to start expanding into new categories. I just want to expand. I think what I've struggled with in the past is this all or nothing, like shutting down beauty completely and getting frustrated, because the truth is, weekly I find myself frustrated, but then I also really love the challenge behind it. So it's a very strong push-pull. Business owners, entrepreneurs, I feel like you can relate to this if you're out there listening. It's a roller coaster sometimes, and you're like, why am I doing this? And then you remember why you're doing it, so you keep doing it. So instead of just eliminating, I'm adding. The way I know they have new packaging, the Han blush. I really like their blushes. I really like the colors, and I like how soft they are, the powder blushes. I know a lot of people like cream blushes these days, but this is a really nice option, and it's really well priced. So maybe there will be recipes. In my mind, I always wanted to be a food blogger or a food person. That's like my happy place. That's where I go to chill out. So it's a long way of saying I'm excited to move. And I know a lot of people hate moving. And yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but I'm excited. You know what else I'm excited about? Fall. It has been so hot, and I know I'm not the only one experiencing that heat. And I know I'm not experiencing the worst of it, but man, I love fall. I love seasons. I don't like pumpkin spice lattes. Don't come for me, but if you like them, that's fine. That's great. And that's it. That's kind of a quick look that we finished before the guys with the leaf blowers came around and ruined all the audio. Another everyday clean beauty look using very limited, let's see, how many products did I use? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Well, I was gonna say I didn't use a lot of products, but I ended up using somewhere around 12 products. But I bet I could have done this in 6, maybe 5. Maybe that'll be a good next challenge. Plenty more product reviews coming up. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you right back here real soon. Until then, bye.